Hey everyone, it's Dr. Helen. It's been a while since I did a live and did my podcast, and I kind of was doing really well every week, getting into a routine, and then, just life happens, doesn't it? And there's been loads of things where I've been traveling around in my camper van, competing in the Canicross for nations, and just doing loads of Canicross events. I was away, I think 3 weekends on the trot. So sometimes, life is just like that. You don't get to do all the things you want to fit into the week. But anyway, hopefully I'm going to be back on track and getting everything sorted, and just can't wait to share with you this one that I've got prepared for you. And it's all about my beautiful blind dog Inca and how she competed in her first Canicross competition since lockdown, and the beach race at the Canicross Pembury event. So a great one to sort of kick off my new run of podcasts. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm an A&E doctor and an advocate for integrative wellness, as well as an animal aromatherapy specialist, and I love to use essential oils to support the health and well-being of myself and my pets, and helping educate people to do the same for their family, whether that's human or animal. And with pets, I really love to specialize in reactivity and anxious dogs, and also canine arthritis, but lots of different things, but they're my two absolute loves. So if you like what you're listening to, please hit the subscribe button or follow so I can carry on creating more content, and let me know in the comments what you want to know about. Would you like to get essential oils into your life? Why not book in for a free chat with me, or come to one of my classes? And I've got my next class, pet class, coming up this week as well. And there you can find out how essential oils can support you or your pet, and get your questions answered. And if you don't know how to use them and you've already got oils, then you can book in for a wellness chat, and I also do full consultations depending on your needs as well. So do drop me a message and we can chat about what the best option is for you. So yes, so for those of you who may not follow me, Inca is my blind dog, and she's the reason I absolutely love essential oils. She's the reason I'm actually training to be a behaviourist, which always makes my emergency medicine colleagues quite laugh. And she competed in a race over Easter, and this might not seem a big deal, but it really is. So she actually did. She was starting to compete before lockdown, and she'd actually done a really successful have a go race. We've been building her up a confidence. She'd been doing a have a go race every time we did a competition, and she actually did her last one before lockdown. And then, unfortunately, huge problem with lockdown. And we were ready to go into the 5K event. She was doing so well. She had her last race at Pembury actually in 2020, and then just the pure volume of off-lead dogs during lockdown meant my dog just got too overwhelmed, and I tried to walk her in the local park instead, and unfortunately the traffic was too overwhelming for her, and we actually had a perfect storm of events where there was skateboarders at basketballs, there was sirens, and she just couldn't cope. So it was, I literally went from having a dog that was able to walk and do lots of things and compete in Canicross, to one that actually was really struggling. So I've got my terror shield all thing, and this fly has just suddenly arrived in my window. And this is where it really all started. And I really was like, I've got to find a way. And I've shared quite a lot about how I got her walking again. And I've got a podcast on it called It's My Blind Dog, How I Help My Blind Dog Walk in the Park. I've got a blog post on it as well. So you can go to my blog. If you go to the link going across the bottom of my screen, it will take you to my blog there. If you're listening, it's www.thehealthfuldoctor.com/WPW links. So having got comfortable with walking again, I wanted to see if she'd start running again. And you may think, well, why bother? But the thing is, Inca loves to run, and obviously she's blind. She is limited to where she can run because of hitting a tree and things like that. So that was a huge problem. And so Canicross is a great sport for her because she's attached to me, and I'm not going to steer her into a tree, and she can run and we can have fun. And she loves to chase other dogs. She loves to run with other dogs. So it's a really win-win. And again, it's all been about building her confidence. And so the thing really with any behavior modification is breaking down the different behaviors. And so there were loads of different aspects to this that I had to break down into separate parts and manage them all separately. And obviously essential oils played a massive role in that, in supporting her confidence and boosting her confidence and reducing her anxiety as well. And it's probably, taken me a good year, really. I think I had this idea a year ago, and it's taken me about a year to actually to to get here, and we took it down into lots of different things. So lots of different things I had to get her comfortable with at Canicross. And so again, using her scent, so we would go to competitions. The first competition we went to after lockdown, she was quite settled being back in the camper van and in our windbreak, but she wouldn't actually go for a walk. She wouldn't actually leave our windbreak. She'd go maybe a couple of meters and then she was like, yeah, I'm good. And so that was a real shame. And so it was building up, and I was really, really blessed because a lot of the people at Canicross, the regular events, hello Holly, know her, and so they were really helpful in helping me. And I'd go around, we'd use a lot of, at this point we've used a lot of oils, but at this point we were using cardamom with her, and I was really blessed. I got this fake hand that I would literally go round when we were sitting chilling, and everyone would put their scent on the fake hand, and then I'd go and give her some treats on the fake hand, and she'd have that in her bed, and she'd just be eating treats off this fake hand. So it was a lot of, people would laugh at it, but it was really, really effective because she started to get very used to their scent again, and she was started to be more comfortable, and we'd be able to go for a walk, and I'd be able to sort of stand a couple of meters away from people when we were all sitting down, and she'd just be chilled and really comfortable. And in actual fact, at Pembury this Easter, I was actually in the event shelter with Inca and people that she'd never met before, and she was just really happy, just really chilled, and it was great. And fortunately, a couple of my friends as well, they've been so helpful in helping build Inca's confidence, as she took a massive liking to their dogs, and we call them the Husky Zoo, they're husky dogs, and they've also got old Malinois as well. But we were able to go out for runs with them, which was super helpful. So that was all the stuff, but how I sort of was breaking it down. So after every race, I would take her up to the finish after racing, so she could get used to the sounds and the smells, and all the ladies on the start and the finish line. And again, it took time because she was initially too scared to approach. So I'd be diffusing confidence boosting oils in my camper van, and then taking her out, and we'd walk as far forward as she would want to approach the finish, and then we'd just sit and we'd just listen, and I'd cuddle her and things like that, and then we'd do some practices going across the finish line and coming back whilst we were waiting for the kids race to finish, and then on another occasion I'd be working on her Canicross skills, which had actually come to a bit of a standstill. And so I started to take her out on her own with just the disabled boys in their stroller, and then I swapped her with Rowan. And Rowan's been brilliant. I mean, he's actually pretty useless as a guide dog as things go. Seren Spaniel was her best guide dog, but because Rowan just does his own thing. But in as much as what's been really useful is it's helped Inca build her confidence, because he just goes off and he comes back and he checks on her and he's ahead of her. But I don't tend to run them on a line together. And so a lot of the time she's running on her own. And literally when we first started doing this, we'd get to somewhere and we'd walk and she'd be fine. And then I'd let Rowan off and she would often just sit there. And sometimes we'd just sit there for 10 minutes and then I'd recall Rowan and we'd go back to my landy, and we'd go home, and then we'd repeat that. And slowly, she'd actually start running, and we'd be doing all these this Canicross practice. And so with my good friends as well, when we were away in venues, we'd actually start going out with just Inca and their huskies, and it was just wonderful because she just took a real liking, and she'd be running, and I'd have Lucy and Amy on either side, and then their dogs on either side of Inca, and she was just really building her confidence. And it's been incredible how well she's done it and how she's doing. And so for the morning of the beach race, the beach race is the most spectacular event at Canic's Fur Nations at Pembury, and you've got something like 200 dogs on the beach, so it was a big ask of Inca, but she loves the beach. And although she's not ready to do I'm hoping she's going to be doing the short course coming up. The beach is somewhere that she's very comfortable on, and I thought it would be a good, apart from the massive dogs, I thought it would be a really good start for her again. So again, it was all about breaking it down into little pieces. So we did the same route to the beach, the start of the beach, every day we were staying there. So that the race took part at, I think it was 7 o'clock in the morning. So we walked the same route to the start every single day. So she was building up to that that walk, so it was familiar to her. I also, a friend of mine very kindly recorded all the sounds at the finish and the start, where all the dogs are very loud and barking, so I could play that to Inca so that she would get used to it. And and it was all about, seeing. And on the morning, we set off early. I think the race was at 7 and I set off about 6 o'clock so that we could just take our time. I took treats. I had Rowan there. We walked our familiar route down to the beach, taking our time. I had different essential oils diffusing that were calming and relaxing. And then on the morning, she had one of her favorite blends, particularly cardamom and melissa at the moment, applied to her in the morning to ground her and give her familiarity. And we walked down the beach, and as we were walking down there, this man passed us with his husky, and it was amazing. And she was like, oh great, I'm going to start running. And so she had a really, really good run, which was not great for me because she had my winter coat on because it was cold and I was not quite ready to be out of my gear yet. And then as we approached the start, and there was just all these people, the noise was horrendous. I mean, it was as I expected, but you forget. And it was just too overwhelming, and she just sat down. And I was trying to get her forward, and she was doing okay. She was coping with the noise. She wasn't trying to go away. She was just sitting and being calm. So we'd move forward, we'd stop, we'd move forward, we'd have a few treats. But I wasn't sure I'd even be able to get to the start line, and managed to get my number. And I had a big high vis on with my dog needs space. And I was looking around for my friend Susie and her daughter Livy, who run with Seren Lab, who's Inca's best friend forever. And so they were waving at me, and we came up and we were stood behind them. So she was with someone familiar. And then it was the very loud, 3, 2, 1, go. And everyone ran off. And we just stood there. And I was like, okay, that's fine. And Rowan was chomping at the bit, but Inca was just like, oh, I don't think I'm going to go. I'm just going to sit here. And she just sat there, and it was fine. And we sat there and we just cuddled and, watching her and reassuring her, because she ate treats, which was really good because, sometimes if she's really stressed, she won't eat or anything like that. And we just sat there, and I thought, well, we'll just see what happens. And I'll see what she wants to do. Does she want to go forward, or do we just sit here and we'll just return to the van and we won't even race? And then literally as the noise started to get a little bit quieter, she was just like, yeah, I'm going to go now. So we were off, and it was absolutely brilliant. And we ran down this beach, and it was absolutely superb. And I actually had her on a splitter line, which was a bit of a mistake. And when we came round the rock, I split the 2 dogs onto separate lines because it worked better. It's sometimes, it is trial and error with these things. And we ran, and it was absolutely brilliant. We were able to see our friend running and wave at them. And Rowan just had an absolute fantastic time. Rowan tried to pull us in the rock pool, which wasn't great, which is a bit difficult. With a blind dog, but I did succeed. She didn't get hit by any rocks or anything like that. And then as we approached the finish line, she got a little bit subdued again. And I was like, oh, we're slowing down a little bit. And then literally my dear friend Susie came bounding back up to us. So she'd finished her race, and she came back with Seren, so that actually Inca had a friend to go into the finish with. And then Lucy turned up with her dog Maya. And it was just awesome because you could literally see Inca really relaxed because her friends were there, and she was able to finish, and it was wonderful. And I'm so grateful to Canicross because they're so supportive. But the reason I'm so excited about this as well is that it just, there are things that you can do to support your anxious dog. You can make a massive difference by just small steps and breaking down those behaviors into small manageable steps, and and then slowly putting it all together. So from there, we are going to be starting to do the have a go. We've got a competition coming up in Scotland. So I will take her around the course. She won't be doing the have a go there, but we will be doing it at the next one at Box End in July, and just giving her a little practice around the route, and then seeing how she's doing. Because again, it's just giving her that familiarity. But she was just, she just had such a good time. I had a good time, and it makes a little difference. So top tip is break these behaviors down and practice them. Small practices every single day or several times a week, just 5 minutes, can make such a massive difference to changing that behavior, and turning and getting the good behavior that you want, the change in behavior. So getting rid of the scared and turning the fear into something really positive. And again, using sound, using essential oils to support that as well can all make a massive difference. So if you'd like to learn more, do come to my essential oil first pet class, which is on this week on Thursday, and I've got an anxious dog webinar actually on Friday as well, so you can look at the link going across the bottom in my at the bottom of the screen, or I'll put it on my podcast if you're listening as well, and then I can give you some tips. But feel free to reach out to me and we can have a chat if you want a consultation, and find out what is going to be the best option for you. But I hope I've given you some ideas. Do have a read of the blog, and there's a little video about the whole race and a bit more about it as well. So I hope that's given you some ideas. Stay safe, stay well, give those beautiful pets a cuddle. Bye.